Can we backtrack for a second? I want to define this for your audience. What is trauma? Because I think there's like these internal falsified levels to it, where it's what we allow people to victimize themselves. And, like the variation in someone's mind could be anything from just losing a parent to a physical, mental abuse, to a one act or circumstance, to a lifetime, 5-10 years of circumstance. Like the trauma varies. We use this word so fragrantly, we throw it around, but like in someone's brain, what does it have to look like to be considered trauma? It could be little.
It could be little, right? And it's really easy for people to understand physical trauma. Like you break an arm, everybody's got that.
Correct.
Right? But it's the mental and emotional trauma. And it's a little bit subjective for people.
Right.
So something that may be traumatic for you may not be traumatic for me. Part of it is based on our experience growing up, maybe our family dynamics, maybe even to some extent genetics.
Mm-hmm.
But it literally could be anything, depending on that individual. And that's why you can't discount it when somebody says that they're sort of traumatized, because it's going to be subjective. And so you've got to take it at face value. You've got to take it seriously. And you really have to help them start to do the work. But from a brain perspective, trauma is anything that is going to trigger your fight, flight, or freeze response as a result of you feeling like you're being threatened in some way. It doesn't need you to be physically threatened.
It's like a fake threat.
Yeah.
It's not actually happening.
It may not actually be happening, but it can also be a threat to the idea of who you think you are, right? So it doesn't need to be like, oh, my body is being threatened, right? But just my ego, my sense of who I'm supposed to be in this world, right? If that's threatened, that's traumatic for people.
All right, we're gonna deep dive off the end here on this one. When you talk about threatening who you think you are, I've conveyed this to you before that I went through I would say like 2 years of the most significant work I had to do because of something that happened to me that was unexpected. And in that process, I feel like I had to lose myself to find myself. And when I say lose myself, like people don't talk about this part, but yet on the other side, I can say it was so necessary, but it was such a threat to my ego. Like I was having tantrums and I was acting out and I was having outbursts and I was angry all the time. There was a moment in the first year where I remember sitting across from my best friend and I was like, I hate this version of me. Like I hate it. It's embarrassing. It's obnoxious. I'm angry. I'm aggressive. I'm short-tempered. I can't show up for people. I'm literally taking from people and I can't give back. And then I realized I was sitting in so much. This was the process that I had to go through. It was slow. It was not overnight. It was not seconds. It was not do the 2 rounds of therapy and you're done. It was years of therapy and it was breaking versions of me that I didn't understand. I had to get down to the core of some of these triggers and what my brain had shut down, and put a pin in that because I want to get to that. But I had to really like sit in the fact that I felt like I was allowing the world to watch me undefine 30 plus years of people pleasing and being the right person and being the good girl and doing the right things and the girl who got her master's degree and helped the community and did all these things. And now she's falling apart and she's having tantrums and she's cussing people out and she's angry and she's self-centered and she's selfish and she's not doing all the things that she used to do to help people because she's fallen apart. And I wanted people to so badly understand that. And I had to realize in that 2-year period, there were people that were never going to understand that. And that was so hard for me. And you just said it. It was because I wanted people to be like, don't you, like she's healing and she has to go through this. Like, just understand me in this phase. But what was so hurtful was it was a threat to my long-term identity. It was a threat to who I thought I was for so long.